So, Rebecca, what I'd love to find out for you, just 3 quite simple questions that I think that others would really love to hear from you about. And the first one is, what were you experiencing or thinking that led you to find the course, but also want to lead a more gentle life?
Well, I was feeling a bit overwhelmed, actually. Got 3 children, one of which she was doing her A-levels. And so I was trying to juggle all the life demands of having a larger family, whilst also trying to start a business, my own business. And I think it was just all becoming, it was kind of like, this person needs this, I need to do this. And it was just getting on top of me, really. And I was finding myself saying, I can't do this, it's too much. Those phrases kept coming up over and over again. Oh, and the puppy had broken a leg, an aside. But it wasn't a side, it was a massive thing that now I can reflect on, that was also something that didn't help the situation. And then I suppose because of all this, it just got on top of me, and then I was feeling really frustrated that I couldn't get on with stuff. I was tired, I was less tolerant, and all of that just I sort of felt like I was in limbo, and I needed some help to get out of it. And I knew I could get out of it with help. And that's when I found you.
And that's a really interesting word. You were in limbo, and you said about overwhelm. Do you think you had an idea at that point about what you would need to do to get out of those feelings?
I knew I needed, what the word that comes up and probably comes up for you all the time is clarity. I needed to think clearly, and I could not. It was just like a huge fog. And I think I am quite resilient, but so I knew that I'd be able to do it, but I just couldn't see how, because I was refusing to think, well, you've got 3 children, so you can't start your own business. But then you sort of beat yourself up about that and think, don't be so ridiculous, of course you can. But I just needed a path, I think.
And when you're in overwhelm, that path is so unclear, isn't it? It's like spaghetti thinking.
I can't tell you how different I feel from then, and it wasn't really that long ago.
So tell us what you experienced on the course and how that changed things for you at the time.
I think it sort of went, there's a process that you go through, but I think the process for me was recognizing all those feelings that were causing the overwhelm, and understanding them, and understanding where they came from and what might be causing them, like how that intolerance might be connected to something, and then kind of working out in a big scheme, what needed to change. That's quite a big thing of the course. What needed to change to make those feelings change. So that was kind of like the second step for me. And then understanding what needs to change and then getting to that is quite a big hurdle. But then there were so many tools and strategies across the weeks to help you do that and to really focus on it. And there's some things like the whole self-care thing that, like at the start of the course, self-care was just not ever something that I have allowed myself to really do, because I just thought it was, I've never been good at just sitting and reading. Now I do it all the time and I love it. I schedule in a part of my day every day for my quiet time. So things like that are such a big thing that you suddenly identify. It's not really a big thing, but it makes a huge difference.
And that's really nice that you said the part about it not just being the actions that you do, it's the thoughts behind it, because we talk about that a lot, I feel like, on the course, don't we?
And it's finding the ones that work and the ones that don't. So like I found the digital detox, being a bit more mindful social media use. I found that really useful. And then you kind of identify which ones you need to target, which bits of your that you want to make more gentle.
What did you find the most surprising about the course?
just kind of how much it makes you think, and how many different ways there are to get out of that fuzzle, and how to find your own way out of it. I was surprised by that. I think it's difficult. I think a lot of things surprise me about it. I think I surprised myself just in how I reacted to it. Like I was surprised also by the group, the group things every week, and there was some really lovely feedback, and it was so caring towards each other and supportive. I just think it's helped me see clearly, and it's helped me identify some of the things and accept and acknowledge some of the things that I know are my, like, procrastination, self-doubt. It really helped me with my self-doubt. And that is, I think, a big thing for me. And not only the content of the course helped me with that, but those group sessions help with that as well, because everyone's just like the support and an external point of view. So I remember those times when I need a bit of clarity. It's also helped me to think in a more organised way, because I realised that being less chaotic and more organised is something that I've always kind of thought I don't need to be more. I'm not an organised person, but actually it can make a big difference. There's so many things. The sort of purpose, clarity, being able to acknowledge and sit with some of the things that I feel, and then understand why I'm feeling them, and then remembering which tools I sort of need to get from the toolkit to move on before it reaches anything unpleasant or uncomfortable for me. And it's been so great with the children. I've really noticed I'm a lot not calmer, that's probably the wrong word, but a lot more tolerant of their minor annoyances every day.
Well, actually, if you don't mind, there was that example, wasn't there? Just as the course ended, we did talk about your sort of like more mindful summer and what you could do. Do you mind sharing that example?
No, so so I was a bit, when we finished, we chatted, and I was a bit concerned about, because we sort of finished the course at the start of the summer. And what's always been a concern for me is how I'll keep it going. And I have surprised myself with how I'm keeping my dental living going, but there's been a few ups and downs recently. But the children being off for 6 weeks in the summer was one of those things where I questioned, because I'd really started enjoying my time to reflect and put some of those strategies into practice and have self-care moments. And I was concerned how I would be able to fit those in with the children being at home all the time. And so your suggestion of having time and to stop them squabbling and for it to be a gentle home for the summer was to give the children a little pocket of time just with me, and the other one had to basically bob off and do their own thing. I think I may have actually used that phrase. And they totally loved it, and they still talk about it now, although they also talk about the things that we didn't do.
Yeah, right.
There was quite a lot. And they wrote their little list, which I've kept because they were just so cute, of like mummy and me time, what I'm going to do, and they're separate things. And actually it did work. I mean, finding the consistency in it was a bit harder, but it did work, and they really enjoyed having their time, and we had some really fun times together. And that's why on Saturday, when I was on my own with my son, he's like, yeah, mummy and me time. Like, it was kind of like that again. So we just did what he wanted to do. And we had a really great day. And he said something this morning, which is just heartbreakingly cute. I said, gosh, where has this year gone? And he just said, mummy, it's gone happy.
Oh my goodness.
I just thought, that's all I need.
You're giving me goosebumps.
How cute is that? And I just thought, well, part of that has got to be because if I feel better about everything, then they will feel better. Not that he'd ever say something misery before, but I think it is happier. It's a happier house.
Wow, that's amazing, Rebecca. And I know you and I have chatted, you know, on and off throughout the summer, but I hadn't really heard that before. So that's beautiful.
Yeah, so cute. He's a cute little thing sometimes.
But also you can say those things with that reflection and knowing that you still have time for yourself now too, which you've added into your day. So, it just feels, it sounds happier.
And I think that self-care thing, either when you're really busy with work or you've got children, especially if you've got tiny ones that are at home with you, carving out that moment for time to yourself or time for others is really difficult, but it really pays back, really does. Like, that's the one thing I've noticed has paid back more than anything else. And I really notice if I don't get that time to myself each day, even if it's 15 minutes just away reading, I notice the difference.
Wow. And what's nice about that is it's manageable mostly, right? There'll be lots of us where we can't manage 15 minutes because of all sorts of life circumstances. But if we think of an ideal or a goal, and that's to reach if we can't yet get there, then that feels possible, doesn't it? It's not saying you must spend 2 hours every day doing all these things.
Obviously, it's completely dependent on each person and how they feel and what they need. Yeah. But I really, that is the one thing that has really made a difference, I think. And it's so simple. So it's not so simple to allow yourself to do it and not have all that guilt and all the other stuff that comes up for people.
So what I'd love to ask you just finally is to share something or anything that you think other people might benefit from hearing about the course or about gentle living in general.
I think with the course, you've got to be kind of in it to win it. You need to, I think I got so much out of it because I sort of gave myself, during the period of the course, I just gave myself lots of time, and it feels really a bit self-indulgent, but it's not. It's really good to be self-aware for your family, for your work, for your business. There's nothing wrong with being self-aware. It's actually a really great tool to take forward. So I just think to get the most out of it, you need to, if possible, put as much into it as you can. Oh, and also I think and I've said this to you, when I first came across the Gentle course, I just thought, I'm not sure. Is it a bit hippie-ish? Yeah. I'm not sure. I want some practical tools. Not that I am very practical. I'm more creative and but I wasn't sure about that. And actually, once we started exploring it, I can see exactly what gentle living is and what it means. And it's not at all hippie-ish, and there are tons of practical tools and strategies. And I actually thought that goes with the online as well, that the sense of what online meant and how involved you would be. And I wasn't sure about that. But I was totally and utterly it was a really nice surprise how involved you were and how much you cared about us all. And that's what makes the difference to it, and how much you care. And you can just see that from how you talk to us and when we were doing our group things. And it's a really lovely, nurturing environment when you do it.
On that note, it would be lovely just to expand on it a bit. Do you think that thinking it was online, it felt like it might just be a kind of access at home on your own type situation, and then that's not what you got? Is that what you felt?
Yeah. Yes. I mean, I knew that there would be the group calls, and actually that I felt a bit slightly uncomfortable about that to start with, because I don't like being in this kind of situation.
Becca, speak now.
But it was really great, and actually, I've made friends out of it. So I knew that, but I didn't realise how big a part that would be, and the fact that you can, if you're all happy with it, there's a chance to communicate with each other outside of the course. So it's not just online. And also the amount of correspondence from you, if you wanted it. I mean, you you weren't at all. But you kind of knew that you weren't there every day. Like, oh,
do it.
how's your day been? But you were there if we needed you, and that was a lot more than I thought.
Who do you think this course is really suited for? Or who do you think gentle living is really suited for? There you go, that question.
Well, everyone. Why wouldn't it be? I just think I think again, clarity, if you just need a bit of direction or clarity and you just feel a bit fuzzy headed for whatever reason, and you kind of have these feelings or you can't get past something, I think it really helps you to just kind of take that leap over whatever the hurdle is that's in your way. I think whether that's business or, there's lots of different facets to it, so family, business, your home. Found during the course all of those kind of subject areas of my life, ways of making them better and making them more gentle.
Is it fair to say that the gentle living process is easily applicable to a number of areas within your life that are specific to what you're doing?
Yes, definitely. And definitely I've taken my little book.
You're so good with your book. You're amazing.
I use this now. I use it as my little, when I'm having a moment, just to go and have a flick through. But I also use some of the tools in there, and I'm now using those for my business development and getting that moving along. So they're a movable feast.
Wow, that's the most brilliant thing to hear, because the whole point of this is that we take that learning and we apply it to all the things that we're doing.
It's made such a difference, and it is, it's just down to you being sort of, I think, in tune with, because I know my gentle life looks completely different to somebody else's gentle life, and I could see that on the course, that all of our lives needed something completely different, but I could also see how you were in tune to each of those gentle lives and what we all needed to do to help us move forward, and that's brilliant. So thank you.
Oh, honestly, thank you. Heart completely warm. Just like, yeah. Thank you so much, Rebecca.